I'm just a child of God that does nothing but follow his heart, bro. That's really it. If you see me every day, by grace, you're gonna hear the motto "Praise God" come out my mouth one way or another. I don't know if you noticed that lately. Like that's,
I noticed that.
every second, any chance I get, just praise God.
Welcome back, season 2, Attractive Mindset, and we have another special guest for you today. This man is the reason for the season. He gives you that extra flavor you need to just add that enhancement to your life. We got the superstar life coach, real estate expert, Mr. Oliver in the building.
How you doing, my bro? I appreciate you having me on today, man. I really do.
Absolutely. So, I gave him a brief overview of just what you do. But I want you to tell them a little bit about who you are.
I mean, who I am, like when you strip away everything else, man, the real estate, the life coach, everything in that aspect, I'm just a child of God that does nothing but follow his heart, bro. That's really it. If you see me every day, by grace, you're gonna hear the motto "Praise God" come out my mouth one way or another. I don't know if you noticed that lately. Like that's,
I noticed that.
every second, any chance I get, just praise God. Just like whatever.
Love that. Okay. Yeah. So, let's talk about it. Let's walk through it, man. So with the life coaching, with real estate, I wouldn't say they're dramatically different fields, but they definitely both have their paths.
Yeah.
And so, before we even get into that, what is your journey? What has your journey been for you, just even getting to being in those positions?
I'm not gonna lie, man. It's been a crazy journey. Like most people, one of my brother's friend was here at my house recently over the past holidays, or the past holiday weekend, and the reason why I say it's been a journey is because nobody would have known that I would have pushing so hard towards God the way I am right now, or even in the fields that I'm in right now. Because I was supposed to be a physical therapist. I was supposed to be a doctor. I was in school, track athlete, track superstar. I did pole vault. I was supposed to be a physical therapist, helping people rehabilitate themselves.
Weirdly enough, you look like a pole vaulter.
Yeah, I've never said that before. Because I'm short and light.
Like a pole vaulter.
I'm short and light.
Yeah, you work out a lot. I can see it. Like, I've never visualized somebody as a pole vaulter in my life, but as soon as you said that, I was like, you would be one of those guys.
Yeah. Okay. I was en route to being big with how dedicated I was when I was in college. Like it all started when I left my house when I just turned 18, just graduated high school 2019. And I made a decision to not take a local scholarship and take a full ride to Illinois.
Oh, hold on, pause. You say you graduated high school 2019?
Yeah, I graduated high school 2019. Yeah, I'm 22.
That age just hit in for me different.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I turned 20. I turned 23 this month on December. This month on the 31st.
Okay. Oh, okay. The big 2-3 coming out. It's the Jordan year.
Yeah, the Jordan. Yeah, you already know. But right now I'm feeling like Ali right now.
Ooh.
I'm feeling like Ali. But
okay.
The reason why I say it's been a journey is because, I was in college. It was the first album, the first one out of all my brothers that lived by myself when I was in college. So just that experience, I felt free. I felt, the independent feeling when you live on your own, you have no parents, things of that nature. Weirdly, I didn't feel homesick. I was ready for that transition. But with just so much factors in Illinois and how the coach went about my scholarship, I was supposed to get a full ride. It ended up being 98%. So I had to work my ass off to get that full ride, and I did so. Each year, each month, week over week, I was increasing by, because they had a coach that tracked the metrics. So each month, muscle mass wise, I increased between 18 to 33% month over month for that full fall semester. Endurance wise, I increased between 12 to 22 because endurance it takes longer to increase than muscle. So I was on route to being amazing that year, but once the fall semester ended, he was like, because the team wasn't on point, he wanted me to be a coach's pet, so to say. He wanted to be coach number 2. So when the girls wasn't going to to practice, and they wasn't doing what they were supposed to do, he wanted me to go all the way to their dorm, wake them up, 5 a.m. practice. But I'm like, I got to manage myself and do what I got to do. I can't speak for him. I can't force him to do anything.
Yeah.
So my 98% scholarship went from that to 72.
Sheesh.
And that was a 40 grand a semester
wow.
A semester school year. Like every semester I had to pay 40 grand if it wasn't a full ride. So from that 98 to 70, I was like, I wasn't working this whole time. I was a full-time student and athlete. I wasn't working. So I made that decision to drop out, come back to Miami, stay with my peoples. And I was really lost in myself. Like, if you would have saw me that year, that was 2020, coming into 2020, I was working 2 jobs. I was working at a 5-star restaurant. I was working valet overnight. So you'd see me working overnight, bomb. I'd be sleeping in my car 2 to 3 hours for my next shift, bomb. I was just grinding it out. But then I had that sense like, I didn't want to just live and work like this because I see that in my father. And then from there, I got a girl, started finding myself, started going to church January 2nd, 2021. And that's when everything started changing once I started finding God and started seeking God in that way. And it happened out of nowhere. I just felt like I needed something one day. And then one of my friends was like, hey, I'm about to go to church. But before all that happened, I had life-altering occasions that most people thought that, hey, how come those wasn't your find your Jesus moment? Like it was to the point in 2019, before I went off to college, I almost died. Like I almost lost my life.
Oh, wow.
Like I was going through a lot of emotions, heartbreaks, whatever the case may be. And one day I kind of just lost it, and I overtook a car going on a 2-lane road, outgoing, oncoming. And then I overtook 4 cars. Next thing you know, a VW, a Volkswagen, made a left turn all of a sudden with no signal. It was either I merged and went in the turning lane with them because it was kind of like a T lane. It's either I merged with him and hit a G-Wagon that was coming my way, and I was in a 2010 Maxima, or I hit the VW on the driver's side, and we did what we did. And in that moment, I literally hit that VW. We both split ways. By God's grace, nobody died, nobody got injured. We all literally walked home because it was like a walk away from my house.
Wow.
Which is ironic. But literally when I hit the VW and we split, I almost died because it was one of those short, stubby palm trees that was in front of me. If I would hit that, I flew out the window.
Oh,
point
damn.
blank. Because the damages you would have saw on the right side, because next thing you know, my hands was up. Like the airbag went, I went back, my hands was up. I see the tree in front of me. I'm like, oh. Next thing you know, the wheel just turned to the left, messed up my whole right side. With how bad you see the right side, if it would have hit the front, I would have flew out the window because I didn't have my seatbelt on.
Sheesh.
Yeah. And then since then, that wasn't my Find My Jesus moment, but that was that moment that sparked the need to have so much joy. So ever since then, people say my energy is kind of too much. I'm that annoying little brother, but hey, I'd say God gave me this joy because I almost lost my life at that moment. And then since then, I kind of was just grateful for everything, no matter how things. It's really hard for me to cry, but because I'm filled with so much joy in that sense.
I be crying.
Yeah.
I be crying, nigga.
I'm being honest. Like it's not hard. I'm not saying I don't cry. I'm being real. I'm not saying I don't cry. I actually, like, because it's always good to let it out when you need to, and I do that. But ever since then, I just have so much joy. And then on this journey, I'm finding myself. I'm seeking God. Next thing you know, I'm in real estate. Bam! In a month, I got my license. I was wholesaling for about a year, making no money, no bread, broke. Just working 2 jobs. Next thing you know, I'm in real estate. Bam. In a month, I'm making money. I'm doing what I got to do. And I see myself transitioning to becoming the man that I am now, because I'm in the choir. Now I'm doing this. Now I'm doing more. And then in that transition for myself, I saw myself give people advice that helped them change their lives. And then since I've been in this whole state of self-discovery because of real estate, because of God, because of everything, I found the need to become the life coach that I am now. And that's why I'm transitioning to now being a real estate professional instead of a realtor, to being a life coach, real estate professional, so I can still help people on that aspect. But my main purpose, I found my purpose because of God and because of finding myself, that being a life coach and doing these things is what I'm here to do. And that's pretty much my whole journey in itself, man.
Yo, I'm glad that you were able to share that because, even as involved as I am with you on a, connective kind of level, I didn't know any of that. And
Yeah.
the vulnerability, that's always how I like to not gauge people, but I like to also just view people in a certain way because the level of vulnerability somebody's willing to share also shows the level of growth that they're willing to have. Whether they're an
Mm.
expert, whether they're a master, whether they're a student, whether they're a whatever, the more vulnerable we learn to get in our lives with other people, the more we also accept into our lives because if we can't be vulnerable with other people, how do we expect other people to be vulnerable with us?
That's real. And the reason why I'm so vulnerable and I'd say transparent now, it's because in being vulnerable, in being transparent on my story and the lessons I've learned and the things that I went through, that I've helped people get over their past traumas.
Mm.
Like, I helped somebody, I was working at Home Depot. Just because of my story, I helped somebody get over them getting raped when they was younger.
Wow.
I helped them getting over an abortion, getting over this, getting over that. And yeah, it sounds weird and crazy right now, but people have these stories. And if you're not vulnerable, if you're not transparent, they won't see that, hey, it's hope. Because you'd be surprised what I went through before. And once I share those stories for people that I get that feeling that they're ready to hear. Because yes, I'm transparent. Yes, I'm vulnerable. But you have to be careful with that. You have to be transparent when people are ready for that type of information.
Correct.
So it's only when they say certain things, their body language, that's when you can really tell that. But it can really help people get over their struggles, and it can help you grow because they see, hey, you're transparent. All right, let me help this guy. Let me do this. It connects you with people on a deeper level on that aspect.
Absolutely. And so even, the level of vulnerability is you don't want to be overbearing with it, but you want it to be a connective piece, which is exactly what it is because we never know what somebody else may or may not be going through or may not want to talk about and feel like they can or can't talk about it because the space that's set. And, something that this is super prevalent is not only just the Black community, but Black men.
Bro.
Black men, we don't talk to each other enough about vulnerable moments in the sense of, hey man, how you doing today? What are you thinking about today? How's your last month been? What do you got going on a serious note? It's always usually we live in a day and age where a lot of people treat things as jokes or just castaway feelings, or people want to have no feelings, or people, even relationship status between guys and girls, they don't want to, I can't be tied down. I don't want to be married. I don't want to do this and that. And
so I feel like the way that is with Black men is because I even seen it in myself. That's why I said even I cry myself, but it's behind closed doors. But I need to get in the habit of being vulnerable in that aspect to other people. But the mindset that I had behind it was, hey, I have so much people counting on me, and they look at me as the anchor. If they see me cry, would I still be an anchor for them? Because if they see me cry, then all right. If Oliver's crying and he's been my rock, he's been this. He's my sense of, all right, I can get through it. But if he's crying, then dang, how should I feel?
But so I want to challenge that,
bro,
too.
That's how I used to think, bro.
Because with that thought process, there's two type of tears. There's hopeless tears, and there's tears of release. And so when you have hopeless tears, that's the moments where you have no solution. You have no, foresight on something better coming. That's crying to cry, but when you cry to release, that's making room for the solution that is going to come.
I like that. So I never called it that. I called it a cry of acceptance. Because I've always been a big advocate for accepting where you are now, so you can either figure out what you can do next, or you can have the ability to act upon what you need to act upon to achieve that solution. Because when I cried recently, it was like 3 weeks ago, and me and you had talked about it. in one of our coaching sessions. By the way, Rich, coaching, that's my guy. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna keep that there. But that cry of acceptance, like, I'm not gonna lie, it's not coming out my nose. Like, I needed that. But if I never would have done that, I probably wouldn't have had the focus that I have now, because I would have had so much things bottled up. So that cry of acceptance is a big cry to release everything you have, so you can have that undeniable focus. Like, you know what? I accepted. Cause at that moment, I gave it to God. It was a cry to give it to God. I'm gonna give it to you. It's hard, but I accept that it's hard, and let me just put my best foot forward.
I believe it's been a while. I believe it's John chapter 17, verse 22. You know, a good joy, or no, joy is good for the medicine of the heart, but a bad spirit dries up the bones. And, you know, I always took that as something of you can't be stuck in always being happy, you know, and that's something I also learned from psychology. Wow. Because we were made with a range of emotions, and that also includes anger. That includes being sad. That includes being happy. That includes being, you know, confused. That includes being a lot of different things. And everybody expects it to be black and white. You know, I used to say things are like yin and yang, light and dark, but we have the rainbow for a reason, because there's an assortment of colors. It's not just black and white. And we have to be able to be well balanced enough to process all of these things at once, because they all exist at once. You could be doing one thing and another thing could be happening. You know, you could be in a successful moment where you should feel a certain type of way, and you may not feel that certain type of way. And all of those, you know, people like to say, well, how do you feel right now? That's not as easy as a question, you know, to answer that people might think, because I could be happy and sad at the same time.
Yeah,
I'm alive right now. I'm happy about that. But things may not be going the way I want them to. And so I may be sad about that aspect too. And so understanding how to navigate, you know, I call it the multiverse, almost like Spider-Man, understanding how to navigate the multiverse of emotion. The multiverse of emotion. And that's a mini course that I also want to put out, because again, as you know, we've talked about the 4 systems of mindset. You have your emotional, your mental, your physical, and your financial. You know, in that emotional mindset, the multiverse of emotion becomes the topic of what's going on in my life right now. How many ways can I feel different?
Yeah, that's real. And most people won't even understand their emotions in themselves because they don't know who they are. And you mentioned you wanted to put that course. I'm being early with this, but I'm actually dropping a fast track course to help people find their purpose.
Boom.
Yeah, it's like a week course where they understand vision, they understand mission, they understand the mindsets and the intelligence of life that they fall in or they're naturally drawn into to help find their inner self. And it's a week long because we teach you these things, but you spend a lifetime putting everything into practice. So I want to drop that. Be ready.
Love that. So, you know, tell us a little bit more about, since we just got into it a little bit, tell us a little bit more about actual life coaching. Like what exactly is a life coach?
So a life coach, I'd say, is somebody there to stitch the ideas and passions that you have so you can put detailed action behind them. So in the conversation that I have with clients, it's before anything, I see if they understand who they are as a person. Once we have those questions, we have that we curate what is their vision. Why do they want to wake up and do these things? Why do they have these ideas in the first place? That's pretty much what a life coach's encompasses. Like, it helps you based on where your need is. If you have a need in finance, I have courses that's coming out teaching people about money, teaching people on the blueprint of business, teaching people how to put that structure behind the ideas that they have. But if they don't know who they are, how the hell are they gonna help somebody else? Because the business is to help somebody else, not just to make money at the end of the day. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what a life coach is. And because at the end of the day, I believe any and everybody can work towards a better mindset in life, and I want to help everybody work towards a better mindset in their life. All they just need is the right guidance, preparation, and to be connected to the right resources. That's in anything.
Absolutely. And I like the fact that you mentioned the goal is to help somebody else, not just make money.
Yeah.
You know, I just finished literally before you came in having a conversation with one of my mentors again, you know, Brendan Boyd. Shout out to Brendan
Shout
Boyd.
out Brendan, man.
And I was talking to him about some of the rollouts that I have, but you know, in even conversations that I've had with other people as well, they were like, "Oh, you didn't drop anything for New Year's. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. Like, I thought you would have like a special coming out or something like that." And I was like, I thought about it. I'd be lying if I didn't say, you know, that I didn't think about it, but I thought about it. But what I also thought about was, did I grow enough? Because just because the date changed from, you know, 2023 to 2024, I didn't miraculously turn into this brand new person that is doing all these new things and everything. And so I chose to not go out during New Year's this year. I chose to not go to any social events this year. I chose to not show up to, you know, anything. And I probably won't until towards, you know, maybe a little bit mid-January to, you know, probably more so the end of January, because I've been taking this time to just understand what went wrong last year, what went right last year, what worked, what didn't work. How can I make it better for my community to understand and learn more from me? I've already finished one book and I'm almost halfway through the second book already, and we're 6 days into the year. You know, I want to get back on that track. I want to be able to take that time to focus on myself as a coach, to be able to grow for the people that need me. It's not like, you know, even if I was the same person I was last year, I'm not saying that I was giving out bad information, but why stay the same when there's always room to grow?
Yeah.
You know, and especially in certain categories, the more information that I'm able to take on and learn and understand, the better it gets. And that's what I want to provide year after year, is a better experience, not just something like, okay, yeah, this is what we did. I want to be like, hey, this is the rollout that we have for this year. I know what we did last year, but this year is the year of this level of execution, this level of this level of that. And so I really like that you brought that up, that, you know, it's about serving.
It is about serving. And I like that you said you're in the state of executing, because I was having this conversation with a friend of mine, and I was saying, you know, this year is the year to execute, because at the end of the day, if you stop one day, you are losing so much compound value on your potential on tomorrow. So if you stop today, if you give up today, if you're tired today and you give up, that's where your cap is.
Yep.
But if you keep going, there is no cap to your potential.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day.
Absolutely. You know, potential is, so one thing I have learned over time also is that, you know, I no longer gauge potential.
You can't.
What I gauge is consistency. And so in me gauging consistency, somebody that has a great amount of potential, someone who's more consistent, can pass them any day of the week. And I watch it happen. It does happen. They do. You know, these people are consistent, and they may not be that good at first. They may not make a lot of money at first. They may not, you know, get a lot of clients. They may not bring these people in. I have a lot of these mentees that, you know, go through these things in their business and they start to get discouraged, but they keep going. And I'm like, hey, you're right around the corner. Trust it. Keep going. Keep going. And then they might get one person that gets something, and they'll be like, well, hold on, I hit. And even though it's only one person, they get super excited. Then that one turns into 5.
Yeah.
And then that 5 turns into 10. And then next thing you know, they're at $20,000. And they're like, hold on, I just blinked.
Bro, that's me right now. And I'm a testimony to your coaching, because I called you one day like, hey, yo, I closed one thing. And I was excited. I called him like literally not even 5 minutes after it happened. And in me being connected to you and under your coaching and things of that aspect, I see that translating into my other business. Like this year, I'm walking in. I just left an open house for a listing that I took. I have another one coming on the market today. And just that, if you have that consistency, if you have that purpose, and just like how you said, this month you're planning, like I did all of that December. And now it's just executing this year. And if I have doubt or fear in something, I'm just going to go. I'm going to do it. I used to write something on my hand for a whole month. And I loved it. I'm not gonna lie. I was thinking on getting a tattoo on my palm on that same thing. Some people was like, no, don't do it. But it was chase the fear. And I wrote it in pen. So even if I wash my hands, it would still be there a little bit. So whenever I felt that doubt, that fear, I would look down and I would just do it. I would look down and I would just say what I needed to say. If I look down, I would just walk in the door. If I look down, I'll just make the call. Doing that, that's like a mindset shift to give you that push. Like, you know what? It's bigger than me. Let me go.
I like that. Chase the fear.
Yeah.
Nah, that's super dope. And I feel like more people should incorporate things like that into their lives, because often enough, what I'm also realizing from the coaching sessions is people don't spend enough times with themselves.
Bro, that is the one thing that I put in that fast track purpose. If you don't spend time with yourself, how are you gonna know yourself? Because at the end of the day, if you're copying somebody, you was never given the vision that person had. So the moment they stop doing what they're doing, or the moment you lose connection with them, you're gonna feel lost. So, but once you find yourself, no matter who's around you, no matter who you're following or who you're inspired by, you're gonna end up still pushing forward because you have your own vision, you have your own creativity, you have your own things inside you. So whatever you're inspired by, when you complete it, is gonna be something completely different. And thank you. And I'm saying this because my spiritual father, Prophet Dr. Curving Didden at the Worldwide Kingdom Ministry, has been teaching me how to be more and more like a man. He basically made me who I am today. At the beginning, when I started finding God and everything, he's been teaching me all these lessons. And if you're not receptive, if you don't have a student's heart, so you don't receive from people like him or people like you won't ever find yourself. Yeah.
And a statistic that I did look up the other day just to reconfirm as well, because myself, I'm 31 years old. So you're turning 23. Wow, I'm 31. I got like 9 years on you pretty much.
Like 25, 27. If I'm
exactly. And so, we're at different chapters of our life. And so us being at different chapters of our life, somebody broke down to me who was 29 the other day. He's like, man, it's just so rough. I don't know. I'm failing at everything. I can't do anything. I feel like everything I do goes wrong and I can't, this and that. And he's having money issues. And he's like, bro, I just want to quit. I want to give up. And he's not in my coaching or anything like that. He's, I was in the military with him. And he's like, man, I just want to quit. I want to give up. Like, I can't, I just too much pressure. And I said,
be like that sometimes.
That a midlife crisis doesn't happen until 42 years old, right? I said, you have time to fail, bro. I said, nothing is concrete. Nothing at all is concrete. You have time to fail. You have time to be consistent. You can't expect things to come overnight. I said, it's going to take work. Yeah. It's going to take a level of dedication. It's going to take a level of mindset. It's going to take a level of understanding that it's not going to go the way that it's supposed to go. And you might have to pivot. You might have to change some things up. You might have to have a new way of thinking, a new mental diet, a new physical diet, a new, friend diet. Who are you talking to?
Who are you around?
That's super important.
What places are you going to?
And me telling him this, I'm like, bro, just be consistent. Don't give up. I said, even if it's not going right, how do you feel about, your industry? Because he has a business. And he has products, and I'm like, how do you feel about your industry? And he's like, man, I love it. Like, that's why I'm still doing it. He's like, it's my passion. It's my soul. Like, it's this and that. And I said, so why would you quit that?
Why would you give up?
I said, well, how can you give up something that you would do for free? I said, would you do it for free? He was like, yeah, I mean, but I got bills. I got to do this and that. I said, so how can you quit something you would do for free? And he was like, man, I never thought about it that way. And in that mindset shift, and maybe, if he reaches out to this episode, I'll share his story because it's a crazy story.
I kind of want to know, man.
And me saying these things on camera, like I'm understanding the confidentiality that I have with people when I have conversations, especially from coaching. So I don't want to put his business fully out there because he's not a client, but he's also, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Literally the week after we had that conversation, he made $10,000. The week after.
It's all a mindset shift, man.
And he called me back and he said, bro, I want to start your coaching. That's how he started off the conversation. And I was like, I jumped to a conclusion automatically because I was like, hey, I understand things aren't going right, but my coaching is also kind of a little expensive. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I said, and so he was like, no, I made $10,000 a week later after our conversation because you forced me to think differently. You didn't tell me things will be okay. You didn't tell me, just what I wanted to hear. You told me keep going.
What you
You told
needed.
me to be consistent in the times where I wasn't making it. And that's what I needed the most. He said, I didn't have anybody in my circle at that point in time that was telling me that.
Yo, he
And
told you. He told you what you needed, and I like that happened because I want to give one gem from this fast track course. If you don't know your purpose, or if you don't know which general idea you should go on your purpose, what you do is this: grab your phone, exclude family, relatives, cousins, anybody you live with, anybody on that aspect. Exclude mother, father, brother, sister, exclude everybody. What you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your phone. You're gonna call the people that are closest to you, your friends only. Where if it's 3 a.m., you call them, they pick up. You have a flat tire, this, that, and third. You call them, they answer, they come through for you, or somebody as close as possible to that. And you ask them, "Hey, why are we friends?" Right? So in that moment, when people ask the why, they start jumbling and say general things. Oh, because you're a good guy. We can have conversation. I'm like, yo, you can have a good conversation, and anybody can be a good guy. That you just described an average friend. Okay, what? Now you get into the what now. What about me makes you want to be friends with me? Then they start listing general things. Oh, this, that, and the third. You want to dive them a little deeper because they're going to get frustrated and now they're going to start describing themselves. Because I was talking to one of my friends and I did that same practice with one of my guys. He said, yo, because at the end of the day, you're just a real person. No matter what happens, you're going to give me the most real advice where it causes me to look at myself like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. Damn, I shouldn't have thought that. You're going to tell me what I needed to hear in that moment. And you're going to be unbiased, even though you're my boy, you're my brother, you're my dog. And it's going to be different for everybody because they're going to describe how you've helped them in a need that they've had in their person in themselves. So that's one way just to find the ballpark on where you're at. And in that, I was like, yo, that's why I like being a life coach, because I like being real with people. I like understanding where they are, where they're coming from, to give them that unbiased opinion or just what they need to take them one step forward in the right direction, whether it's understanding morally what something is or understanding the structure of business or whatever the case may be.
Listen, he's dropping gems for you guys, like actual gems. And you said this is gonna be on the course?
On the course.
Okay,
listen, I already have
y'all.
everything written out. I can push it out right now. I mean, should I, or should I just drop the video and do everything like that?
Yeah. Just make him wait on it. But listen, y'all gotta
I'll
follow him.
I'll make y'all wait.
Make sure y'all tap in even more to understand, the structure that he's building for certain things. Because yes, we also do work together as well. And I can tell you right now that this man's mindset, he just told you he's about to turn 23 years old. Imagine you at 30 are going to be an absolute monster. Do you understand that? Because at 23, I wasn't thinking the way you're thinking right now. I want you to really understand that I was not thinking the way that you're thinking right now. And look where I am today. That's not to say I regret anything.
I never put it into that perspective because, that's one thing that I like helping people with, just like removing that spirit of comparison that they have. Because me looking at other people, it's like they're at this level. And it's like, dang, I feel like I'm behind. I'm just getting started. But when people keep telling me, oh, my age, oh, you're going to be good, I'm just like, you know what? Let me just accept it. Because my spiritual father even said this. Sometimes some people are at a place where they're ahead of you, so they can tell those people about you because they were connected to you.
Bro, I thought you were like 27.
Really?
Yeah. You carry yourself in a way older demeanor.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You carry yourself in an older demeanor. You carry yourself in a mature demeanor. You understand responsibility. And somebody that understands responsibility on the level that you do, bro, I'm telling you, by time, before then, but for sure by time you hit 30 years old, you are going to impact a lot of people's lives.
Hey, by grace, it's going to happen, man. By grace. I appreciate that. Thank you, man.
And so, what is one word you want to describe your 2024 in?
Intentional.
Intentional. Go deeper on that.
People want to say, oh, abundance, oh, plentiful, or this, that, and the third. But if you don't have a level of intention where you know what you're doing and why you're doing that thing, so you can keep on doing that thing, whether you're 100%, whether you're 50%. But when you're 50%, you give it all of your 50%. Instead of letting you being 50%, give you the excuse to give 0% effort.
Love that. Intentional. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that. And so, lastly, I want you to give 3 key pieces of advice to people as to why they should possibly think about getting a life coach.
The Bible said it itself. Yeah. Minister Oliver getting into the Bible, but the Bible said it itself. No matter what, you need a teacher. It takes a king to make a king. But if you don't have a teacher, how are you going to tap into spaces that you want to tap into? At the end of the day, God made it easy. God made it to the point where you don't have to reinvent the wheel. That was my problem, even getting into real estate, even getting into wholesale. I tried to reinvent the wheel, but then I had to shake that mindset on just doing it by myself. Yeah, that you need a team. You need to have that blueprint. You need to have that mentor to guide you so you don't make those trivial mistakes. So now you make the big mistakes sooner. So when you're in that big level, it's just, all right. It's just execution at that point. So that's one of the main reasons. The Bible said you need a teacher. The second reason is, at the end of the day, oh yeah, I said the second reason. The second reason is to get over and pass those trivial mistakes early on so you don't fall, trip up, and let those small mistakes stop you from reaching those diamonds on the next level. And lastly, I'd say is accountability. Yeah, a teacher's going to be there for you, teach you those things, help you get over those trivial things. But the hardest thing to find, that's even harder than diamonds and even harder than the most rare minerals that we have that people are fighting over nowadays, is accountability. You know how hard it is to find an accountability partner where that's consistent? That when you don't show up, they show up for you. So now you show up and vice versa.
It's kind of tough.
It's kind of like, I'm a life coach, and bro, I would say you're my accountability partner. Because every week when we're about to meet, it's like, damn, I gotta do what I gotta do before our coaching session. But I have to pay for that. Imagine somebody who doesn't have the money or funds to pay for that. How scarce that would be. But how powerful accountability can push somebody to that next step of growth. So I feel like that's the most important thing, or the most important reason why you need a life coach. Because yeah, you can have a coach for your business, but you can't run your business if you don't know how to live your life.
I like that. You can't run your business if you don't know how to live your life. You got to make that a quote. Yeah, that's quotable right there. You got Dan clapping in the back. That's quotable right there.
You can't run your business if you don't know how to live your life. And I'm at this point where I know how to live my life, and I still stay with my parents. I don't knock that, because I don't want to rent, and I want to step into my first home fully owned by me. Whether the rent is subsidized and I can manage, whatever the case may be, because I still want to stay in Florida because of the value of the area. But I'm at this point where I know how to live my life, and I need to remove myself from people that are just trying to survive. Being honest, like even my parents, like I try to get them out of it every day, no matter what. Because at the end of the day, they're my parents. I respect them. I love them. I cherish them. Sometimes we might butt heads, but at the end of the day, from the country they came from, Haiti, they were only taught to survive. So when they came here, they adopted that same mentality. Oh, turn off the water, close the lights. They manage those nickel and dimes rather than paying attention to the dollar.
This man talking today.
Bro, those nickel and dimes is, I want to survive. I want to do this. But if you do that so you can do what you got to do, and you focus on the dollar, how much more would you gain? So I'm at this point where I'm trying to live. I'm not trying to survive. Yeah, I might be in debt. Yeah, I might be this. Yeah, I might be that. But at the end of the day, I'm living. I know it's part of living, but if you don't have a life coach to teach you what's part of living, how are you going to unlock that so you can unlock business, so you can unlock social life, so you can unlock family life, so you can unlock everything else? Because if you don't know how to live your life, how are you going to do these other things, man?
I love that. Love that. Man, Oliver, listen. Listen, like, I got to give you your flowers right here. From the moment that I met you till now, even just how you speak, you've always carried yourself in a high regard, but even just how you speak, you have to understand you are living, just like you said. You're living, and the growth that you're having is phenomenal. You are already at a high level mindset, and the fact that you're just constantly increasing that, like, bro, like, I'm happy. I feel fulfilled in myself, and you know, I am just fortunate to be able to have these conversations with you, to be a friend to you, to be a coach to you, to be a older brother figure to you.
I'm not gonna lie,
you know what I'm saying?
Like, bro, definitely, man. Definitely. You're an older brother that I didn't know that I needed. Like, I have an older brother. He taught me a lot, but sometimes you need somebody on the other end of the spectrum to teach you the things and put you on games on everything else and then some. I'm being honest, man. I'll give you your flowers for that. And I want you to help me out with something. Because sometimes I think this because of my personality and who I am. Mm. And I don't know if we can get into coaching, but you're saying all these things. But sometimes when I'm in these different spaces, like my spiritual father told me about this because it even said in the Bible, you're not respected in your own home or in your own land, whatever. Like, you know, Jesus wasn't respected in the tribe he came from. Mm-hmm. So me, I feel like because I'm so goofy, I'm so this, that people still see the person that I was. They don't see the person that is living now.
Well, you know, we actually had this conversation last time. Yeah. Remember what we talked about last time? What we talk about?
Being honest, put me on game.
Your tribe.
Change the tribe.
Mm-hmm. Change the tribe. And you even mentioned the word. You know, when I'm around, you know, some certain tribe of people, they still see the old version of me because they're not meant to see the other version of you. The version of you that exists right now. They aren't frequently vibing at that mental process to understand how much you have changed because they haven't changed.
That's real. And you saying it again, because sometimes some of those people are family, and my family is really tight knit. Mm-hmm. Like, if you see us for Christmas, it was literally like 23 of us in one house. But sometimes I did see myself like kind of stepping or giving them a long rope, what my spiritual father likes to call it, where I'm still connected, but I give them the long rope so I can live and do my own thing. And then we gotta
always remember, family and frequency, 2 different F's. Our family is not the same as our frequency. Wow. And so if we're vibrating at a different kind of frequency, it doesn't matter if they're family. It doesn't matter if they're friends. It doesn't matter if they want to have fun. You know, all of those things start with F, but your frequency is going to put you in a different category no matter what you do.
That's real.
And so with your tribe, you're going to find people who vibrate at that same frequency as you do. And some may be your family, some may not be. And the more, you know, common cases, most of the time it's not your family because they're not willing to change the versions of themselves to see the changed version of you. They're always going to say, oh, well, Oliver's always been this way. I've always been this way with Oliver. And it becomes that dynamic of a relationship.
Yeah.
I have the same thing.
Yeah, I gotta shake out of that. Because sometimes I feel like, well, I used to feel, I'm saying used to because I'm breaking that right now. Because I'm around family. Like, I feel like I just give them kid vibes because I'm so goofy or playful around them. Because that's the relationship we established. But then when it gets in their business world, they're like, yo, who the hell is this guy?
And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that because you can give them kid vibes and it'll be kid vibes until you're the one that buys them a house.
And that's how it happened.
Till you're the one that buys them the truck.
That's how.
Till you're the one that flies them to Dubai, to Africa.
And that's really why I've been separating myself. So when I come back, it's like, You even said it on my podcast when you was talking about your mother. I'm gonna keep that private so y'all can check out that video. But yo, I want to come back to the point where that's it. Yeah, there's nothing.
Listen, the work that we do isn't for others; it's for ourselves. And others that are already doing their own level of that same work will naturally gravitate towards us.
But you gotta be patient.
It's not
gonna happen tomorrow.
It's a marathon.
Whether it's waiting, whether it's trying to figure out or find a wife or a girl or whatever the case, you gotta wait. I saw this video. I don't know if you saw it. It said, "Don't go to the grocery store when you're hungry because you'll pick out the wrong thing. Because you'll just settle for anything. But if you go on a full stomach, you go in a grocery store, pick out the things you need." So you have to before you even get into spaces, you have to fill your cup so you could only pull what you need. Because if you pull in that excess, who's to say it's not going to be brackish water, it's not going to be muddy water, it's not going to be this, it's not going to be that. I'm talking about my cup now. But you gotta fill yourself so you can pick out what you need.
Absolutely, man, Oliver. It was a gem having you on the show, man. Just dropping knowledges. You got some heavy quotable sections in this, and people got to tap in with you more. So if they wanted to follow you, connect with you, listen to your podcast, where could they do everything like that?
So the hub that has everything is Instagram at Oliver J. Darcis. That's my full name, and my podcast is The Question Mindset. But in my bio on Instagram, you'll see The Question Mindset. If you want to connect with me on a real estate aspect, whether you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate on a consumer-based level locally here in Florida, or understand how to invest with the big leagues and syndicate money where you're buying property in Ohio and other places, reach out to at the JEC team. That's the JEC team on Instagram. And at the end of the day, I'm helping you and everybody do life well. That's it.
I love that. If y'all know anything about him and his podcast, that's how he ends his podcast. And so it's only right for us to say thank you for tuning into our episode. And man, it's your host, Moneybag Rich. And as we always say, we look good, we live good, life is good. Talk to us, we talk back, and we out of here, man.